What is going on, guys? Winter Kills here, and welcome to a brand new post-commentary duel video. We've got Nekroz, that's right, Nekroz on the right versus none other than the Danger Orcust deck on the left. Now, I just got back from my locals, hence why this video is going up late. I was going to, do the commentary and render the video before I left for the tournament, but I didn't have enough time. So I had to wait until I get back, and I'll be going over my tournament report in my stream that I'll be doing after this video goes live. So if you're done watching, feel free to tune into the stream for the tournament report that I'll be giving. And I did play Danger Orcust, if you're wondering what I played. But anyways, getting started into this video, you'll see me going first. I actually win the die roll, and here in this beautiful dice roll format that it seems we have developed here, despite what some people might say. So getting started with the incantation play, Talismander grabbing me Unicorn, and Clauseless grabbing me none other than Kaleidoscope, going for arguably one of the most powerful ritual monsters ever created, at least in modern times here. Nekroz of Unicorn sending Herald of the Arclight and getting a search as a result of summoning said Unicorn. Now this could grab me any ritual monster or spell when Herald of the Arclight is sent to the graveyard. Also, another thing to point out, if you guys are interested in the Nekroz list that I'm playing on the right, I have uploaded a Nekroz deck profile to the channel already, and if you want to check it out, feel free to check the card up in the top right of the video, the little circle you can click on. Should be able to take you there, or you can wait till the end of the video, and there should be a clickable annotation on the screen somewhere. So I end with Unicorn, Clauseless, going for the cycle play, ditching Chirrut, to grab back that Clauseless from grave, and of course Chirrut giving me a warrior search, a search of any Nekroz warrior monster. So giving me the option between Bryo, Clauseless, or Trishula, and I'll go for Bryonek, I believe, for next turn, or Trishula. He starts off with Danger Dogman, and I discarded the Candina out of his hand to special summon the Dogman and get him a draw. Now I know Dogman's a pretty terrible card, as far as dangers are concerned anyways. I mean, every danger monster is basically a free upstart goblin at the end of the day if you look at it in that certain way. I've since ordered a playset of Chupacabra as a replacement for Dogman. I know it's still not the best option, but definitely not breaking the bank anyways there, which is nice. So Valkyrus comes down. I have to Valk or else I lose arguably the most powerful card on my field. And yeah, it's Nekroz has sort of evolved to this point where it's protect the Unicorn, I would say. Protect the Unicorn, and you can usually win games pretty easily and pretty fast, especially when you're resolving cards like Zaborg, which is such a power play in this deck. Now, the thing that ended up being really wonky about the way my field and hand is set up, I have a Pencil Plume in my hand that I can resolve, but I can't really resolve it. I have a ritual monster in hand, but I have no room. I have no room on my field. Arguably, I should not have summoned the Clauseless the previous turn. That was a bit of a greedy play. That would have netted me the extra Trishula, and I don't know, again, I don't know why I even went for it. That was a bit of a misplay on my behalf. Now, speaking of misplays in general, Nekroz is a deck that I feel like, even to this day, is still a pretty hard deck to pilot. There's so many searching options, so many chains of searchings that you can do, and adding the right cards at the right time, and not, using your resources too much, and make sure you search efficiently, or else the deck will punish you, and you won't have the right cards when you need them. But I pass it back to him. He has now normal summoned the Phantom Knight's boots, and Battle Phase kills the Talismandra, and Dogman finally runs over that Unicorn for 100 points of damage. Now, somewhat freely able to go into the normal Orcust combo. Now, I still have this Clauseless on my field, which could prove to be a problem. Going for the Nightmare Cerberus, using the effect of the Clauseless there. Actually, not using the effect of Clauseless. I use the effect of Trish to negate the targeting effect of Cerberus by discarding the Trish, but he has the Called by the Grave for it. And then once the Called by the Grave is activated, I still chain the effect of Clauseless. So Chainlink 1 Cerberus, Chainlink 2 Trish, Chainlink 3 Called by the Grave, Chainlink 4 Clauseless. So I am able to negate the Nightmare Cerberus anyways, but it really doesn't matter. Going into the Mermaid here, sending another copy of Phantom Knight to the Silent Boots from his deck to his hand, and summoning out a Orcust Nightmare, going into the classic Orcust combo. Not summoning Bardiche just yet anyways, but going for the Galatea. And then we'll see the Orcust Nightmare get banished here, targeting the Galatea, going for the Harpor summoning Simple Skeleton, etc., etc. As you can see, my graveyard over there, it's decent. I have the Sure Engrave still, as well as a Mirror Search, so if my field is cleared by the end of the turn, I could technically get some searches and try to get some plays going, but playing through Fogblades is going to be tough, no matter what way you look at it. That's why I think Bardiche is such a card that just needs to go. It just needs to go. Either that or Fogblade gets hit to 1 or Fogblade gets banned or something, just because Bardiche is just a guaranteed 2 negates most of the time. Plus, it allows for the double pop with Dingirsu. It's such a strong card. There really isn't any other Link monster in the game at the moment like it. And speaking of like going to locals earlier, what I said at the beginning of the video, this Danger Thunder is such an incredible deck. My friend was also playing Orcust, and he won the dice roll and did full combo both games. And the Danger Thunder player was still able to blow through the entire field and end on a pretty much unbreakable board. The Saryuja and Levianeer and Elpie are cards that I think will definitely be making my ban list sort of hopes and wants video. The Danger Thunder is just getting out of control, and so are things seemingly with the Rusty Bardiche here in the Orcust combo. I think Mermaid can stay. I think Mermaid allows for a lot of decks to sort of throw the Orcust combo in there to some extent, but once you take the Bardiche away, it becomes sort of less effective and not as difficult to break through. And you don't need so many cards. You don't have to rely on drawing that back row out to even clear the double twin. But now going into Dingirsu and opting to use his effect to either send or attach here, whichever effect he decides to use. Of course, the Dingirsu will be activating, or not the Dingirsu, but the Bardiche activating as well. Now, this is a bit of an interesting play because most of the time this combo is done going first, so when you have to do it going second, you can interact with things a little bit differently, not really needing to use the attach effect of Dingirsu, but instead just going for the send of the Clauseless, or no, the destruction of the Clauseless here, and using the attach effect still. The detach effect, or the attach effect, is pretty strong because it does allow you to recycle that the Simple Skeleton, which is usually a one of in most builds of Danger Orcust. And the interesting thing about Orcust is it's one of those decks that's it's very good in the fact that no matter where your Orcust cards are, you can always get them back. If Symbol is banished, you can get it back with the attach effect, or any of your Link monsters. If it's in the grave, you can summon it out. If it's in the deck, you can get it out usually. It's a lot of versatility. So I get my turn started with Manju, and he has Fogblade, so it's just whatever at that point. And so we take it into game 2, where I will opt to go first once again, hoping I can set up a Zaborg play, and if said Zaborg play goes through, the game will immediately be over, because I'll be able to send 8 monsters from his extra deck to the graveyard of my choosing. Even if I don't end up tributing a monster that is light, he still has to choose, and he's still going to have to send 8 monsters from his extra deck to the graveyard, which will only leave 7, but that means he definitely has to decide on quite a few cards to get rid of that are going to hurt later. While still being able to keep a few if he was able to decide. But, you know, if I'm able to decide, I'm certainly not letting him keep any useful things that he could make, you know, take advantage of during his next turn. But unfortunately, I did not get a way to get 2 incantations on board. I don't think I drew an incantation, which is really unfortunate. And one thing to keep in mind, I have changed the list slightly from the deck profile I uploaded. The only thing I changed was I think I just bumped up the ratio of the Chalice Slime and dropped the summon limits. I really haven't changed much else than that. If you were wondering what I did change, that's pretty much it in a nutshell. So yeah, going for the Unicorn play again here, grabbing the Valk off of the Herald from the Unicorn summon, just making sure I can get as many ways to protect the Unicorn in my hand while still having a follow-up for next turn, because I can block damage, But if I don't have a card like Manju, or a card like Zaborg, or a card like Gungnir, or not Manju, but really, but an Incantation play or a Chalice Line play, then my next turn is going to be very slow. So you want to make sure you have protection on top of having a follow-up play, because if you do not have a follow-up play, you will be attacking for 23, if that, and that's pretty much all you're going to be doing. He gets his turn started with Candina for the light stage, I believe. Yeah, going for the light stage, almost going for the Candina there, but might as well get the light stage to get that extra card out of the deck, and grabbing the copy of the Corobane and special summoning the Corobane, since he does control all Trickstar monsters. And another thing I want to mention with the Nekroz deck, there is a really strong 2-card combo that allows you to put Vanity's Ruler on the board turn 1, which basically is like Jhin. It's a one-sided, I can special summon, but you cannot type card, and I will be incorporating that into my Nekroz build soon. I just had to get a Vanity's Ruler. I didn't even have one. I was going to pick up an ulti, but they're like 35 bucks at the moment, so I'm going to maybe wait on that if I end up deciding to stick with the Vanity's Ruler play. I'll probably try it out on stream. I might go like 2 Zaborg, 1 Vanity's Ruler, because, you know, resolving either of those cards is pretty much game winning for the most part. So he has Candina, he has Corobane, and he's just in this position where it's like, what do I do now? It's like, I could go into full Orcust combo, but there's a problem. There's a Unicorn on the field. I know he has Valk in hand. It's just, it sort of comes down to this: how do I break this type thing? How do I clear this Unicorn without using my battle phase, without using the extra deck? Really, it's a tough thing. But at the end of the day, as powerful as Unicorn seems in this situation, I feel like the deck could still use Unicorn back to 2 or even 3, and it would not make that big of a difference. Shurit, on the other hand, is a very powerful card. The fact that it allows you to use it for the entire tribute, and then on top of that, gives you a search of arguably one of the best cards in the deck, that is Brionac. That is a bit of a stretch, but I definitely could see a card like Unicorn coming back to 2 or 3, and if not Unicorn, maybe Shurit coming back to 2 or 3 on this next ban list. So having the clutch Shade Brigandine there to be able to special summon it out, going into Time Thief Redoer, which is nice because Time Thief Redoer in of itself can't use its effect at the moment, but has 2,400 attack points, which is able to get over the Unicorn. And, you know, in theory, the Valkyrus activates once it hits the grave, paying the cost of banishing a Nekroz card in the graveyard and discarding the Valkyrus. He does have the Called By as response, and the effect will not go through. So that's one thing that Nekroz falls victim to here in 2019 that it never really did in 2015, and that is a card called Called By the Grave, which proves to be very good for him here. Making the Redoer to be able to get over the Unicorn in the first place, and now that the Unicorn is gone and the Valkyrus has been used, it's pretty much anybody's game, or anything goes at this point, really, for Orcust. Getting things started after the battle phase here in main phase 2 with a Danger Jackalope play, and that does get sniped out of his hand. Going for Dogman from deck, even here going for the dice roll and summoning a Danger Jackalope from his hand, discarding a Harpoor and drawing that Foolish Burial off the top to dump the Orcust Nightmare from the deck to the graveyard. Such a good draw right there. Really, I mean, I don't think you could get really a better top deck than that. Using Time Thief Redoer here, just to use the effect to banish himself to the end phase. So sacrificing the Wing Blast effect, but it doesn't really matter. He just needs his extra Monster Zone clear here in main phase 2 to be able to continue comboing. Because as it stands, a Time Thief Redoer is nice, but next turn, if he doesn't put up sort of any interruption, I could come back and follow up with a very strong play consisting of Trish and Valkyrus, maybe even pushing for a lot of damage as well. And that's one thing he needs to keep in mind, is making sure he can at least keep his hand clear at the end of the turn, or else he will fall victim to the Ritual Trish. Now, after the Harpoor resolve, summoning the other copy of Orcust Nightmare, then following up with the Link summon of Galatea into the extra monster zone of that beautiful Thunderstorm playmat, which you guys can get from Imperium Duelist, as you guys know. They are the wonderful sponsor of this channel, providing some amazing sleeves, dice, playmats, etc., etc. I highly recommend you guys checking them out if you haven't already. You can get 10% off your whole order and all future orders with that discount code WinnerKills10 off down in the description below. So if you want to pick up some awesome gaming products, card gaming products, check them out down in the description. Help support me and help save you guys a little bit of money in the process, which is, of course, a win-win. Now, going for Dingirsu here and attaching the symbol skeleton. Of course, there is nothing on my side of the field to send or destroy with either Bardich or Dingirsu. So just following suit with a standard Orcust combo, going for the second copy of Galatea here. Already having the Bardich established with the symbol skeleton and Dingirsu in the graveyard. Recycling that copy of Orcust Nightmare back into the deck to grab a copy of Orcust Babel, replacing the Trickstar Light Stage, which is a card that came in so clutch today. In one of my matchups at the tournament. I might even play a second copy of Light Stage in my build at the moment. I'm not entirely sure. It just came in so incredibly clutch. Now, end phase, the Time Thief Redoer will come back, and he will be able to activate the standby phase effect to take the top card off my deck, and he takes Gungnir, which might not seem like the greatest thing, but that was the card I was really hoping to search going into this next turn, and what are the odds that he ends up taking it off the top of my deck just like that? Only playing one copy of Gungnir, because why else would you play any more copies than that? Oh man, it just so incredibly unlucky, because I have Dance Princess and Shura in my hand. 4 plus 3 is 7, which would allow me to go right in to Gungnir, adding back a Banished Nekroz and a Warrior Monster all at the same time, while giving me the ability to put sort of a Trident, in quotes, a Raigeki break, a walking Raigeki break on my field to bait out negations. It would have been so good, but he got so lucky with that Time Thief Redoer and taking arguably one of the best cards, that I needed at the time. So I'm going to resolve Preparation of Rites here to add the Chalice Slime, and that will discard itself to add special summon any incantation monster. And I add Valkyrus here. Which is a bit of a mistake. I probably meant to summon the Talismandra, and I'm literally just now realizing this mistake after the fact. So I do apologize. That must have just slipped my mind. You're supposed to special summon a incantation monster off the effect of Chalice Slime, which is to discard any card in your hand to special summon it. And then if you do not ritual summon after this turn, after that effect resolves, you take 2,500 damage. But as you can see, I was still able to ritual summon this Valkyrus regardless, still having the Shura in hand for Valkyrus. Not adding Bryo off the Shura, though, adding Trish, because I want to try to protect this Valkyrus from Fogblade. Now, I should have a Talismandra on my field, but luckily Talismandra literally adds nothing to the field at this given time, so it doesn't change the game state too incredibly much. But again, at the end of the day, that is my fault. Mistakes happen. They happen all the time, and I apologize. So, but anyways, regardless, Valk does go through. I tribute a Zaborg in my hand that really isn't doing too much, and the Dance Princess. So I'm able to draw 2 and add back any of my banished Nekroz monsters from my grave to my hand. And I'll add back a copy of Valk, because it's just sort of Valk until I can no longer Valk, and hopefully at that point I'm able to make a comeback. Now normal summoning Manju of the 10,000 Hands to be able to add any ritual monster or spell from my deck to my hand. Now that does go through as well. Could have easily fallen victim to Fogblade, and luckily it will not. So grabbing that copy of Nekroz of Bryanak, I still have another copy of Preparation of Rites in my hand too, which is incredible. Because Preparation of Rites is not a hard once per turn. Resolve Preparation of Rites as many times as you would like in a single turn, which is busted, especially in a deck like Nekroz. So now, I believe going into battle phase here, because, I mean, what else can I do? There's really not much else I can do. I have to try to at least clear this Bardich off the field, or the Redoer. If he'll let me kill the Redoer, that's one thing, because he does have the effect to banish it right now. Just as, banish it till the end phase to clear it. So Dingirsu comes out, banishing the symbol skeleton. No, it didn't get banished entirely. I made a mistake, and lo and behold, he makes a mistake as well. Now, I'm able to resolve Nekroz Mirror here, the banish effect, although technically, you know, I should, you know how I should still have that Talismandra on field. I would technically have 3 monsters on board, that he would have just popped both with the Bardiche and that. So, I mean, technically I wouldn't be able to use it, but I have Celestial Observatory anyway, so I would have been able to put the Talismandra back to the bottom of my deck to draw 2 cards. Like I said, not, you know, the most irreparable game state in the world. Just got to remember to summon that Incantation off your Chalice line, ladies and gentlemen. Don't ever forget. But yeah, that Celestial Observatory spell, a really great budget alternative for draw power in Nekroz. Basically says, send any level 6 monster from your field or your hand and place it on the bottom of your deck as cost to draw 2. Talismandra and Brionac are cards that all fit that bill, and especially with playing triple Chalice Slime and 2 copies of Talismandra and 3 copies of Brionac, we have plenty of level 6 targets that we can put back to the bottom of our deck and draw more cards. Now, I did draw 4 cards that turn. 2 off of the Valk and 2 off Observatory. Now, I believe I have 1 Valk in my hand, and if he were to per se, and he does take the Candle off the top of my deck as well, and I don't believe he opts to use Redoer in the standby phase here to take an additional card, which isn't the biggest of deals. So, one thing that he could do is attack with Redoer, and if I were to Valk the Redoer, he could chain Redoer to banish itself, thus Valk not being able to negate the attack because the monster is no longer there on the field. Much like you would out a Valkyrie back in the day by attacking with a monster and then following up with, per se, a Book of Moon on that monster. Since that attack was never negated, the battle phase does not end, the full effect of Valk does not get to go through. So as you can see there, the Symbol Skeleton getting to the banish zone as it should have been the previous turn. Now using Galatea to put back said banished Symbol Skeleton to set the copy of Orcust Crescendo. Which is a card that if Bardiche does get banned, I will go to playing multiple copies of an Orcust. Because some of your best fields in Orcust come from when you open your field spell, you're already hard open your trap. Because you get the best of both worlds. You get your field spell and you get your trap on top of it. Because a lot of times you sort of have to go with one or the other. And most of the time it's just the field spell, because the field spell allows for the Nagirsu play to happen. So he attacks. I Valk. He attacks with the Redoer. He could have attacked with the Redoer, but he knows I wouldn't Valk that anyways. He takes another card off the top of my deck in the standby phase here, and it's Nekroz Mirror, which, lo and behold, was another card that I really, really needed. And guess what? There's no other Nekroz Mirrors in my entire deck. None. He took the last one. I could have summoned Kandal right here. I've got that Shuret in graveyard. Sure would love to use that Shuret, especially with a card like Nekroz Mirror. The last copy sitting underneath that Time Thief Redoer. My opponent currently trying to build his own Nekroz deck with Redoer. Luckily, sort of luckily, have Pencil Plume in hand to reveal and summoning Talismandra from the deck this time. Actually summoning the incantations as I'm supposed to. And then tributing them for the Mega Zaborg. Zaborg activating here. It's a little bit late for Zaborg, but nonetheless, still a very powerful play to pull off. Because if it does go through, I'll be able to send double Herald and double NTTS, but he's got Crescendo, and there's not much I can do at the end of the day. And that will get banished and negated. I have no mirrors left in grave, I believe, to use here. And Orcust having a full monster, a full board of monsters, close to 5 monsters. Not much to be done. It's just was able to grind for a few turns, just never fully got off the ground. That misplay, and I would call it a misplay. I would call it a bit of an overextension that I did in game 1. And forgive me if I'm not making the most top tier Nekroz plays. Still learning the deck, still getting used to playing it again after, like, what, 3 years? I think it's been since I've played Nekroz. So, and it was an entirely different play style of Nekroz. We had Emerald, we had Lavalval Chain, we had Triple Unicorn. The deck was essentially at full power, and it's a bit different to play now. Resolving another preparation of rights here. Just sort of treading water here, trying to stay afloat. Activating Nekroz Cycle, going for sort of the last hurrah, and we know he still has double Fog Blade set, tributing Ben 10 off of that cycle to summon Nekroz of Brionac, adding a Light Fairy from my deck to my hand. And this is where you would add Vanity's Ruler after resolving an incantation play, because you'd give yourself the 2 tribute fodders for the Vanity's Ruler that you would search off of the Ben 10, since it is a Light Fairy, and Brionac attempts to activate to bounce 2 extra deck monsters. Trish goes to negate the first one, but he has a second Fog Blade. So 2 Fog Blades bladed out there. And the only thing I can sort of hope for at this point is that, you know, he can't attack my monster because it's Fog Bladed. So maybe, just maybe, it'll buy me another turn. But hey, who am I kidding? Takes a Nekroz of Brionac off the top of my deck. Like I said, my opponent currently building his own Nekroz deck on his side of the field there. Having a Gungnir, I believe a Trish or Brio, a Kandal, and a Nekroz Mirror. So it's just... he now has the ability to draw a card off the effect because he has a spell. And we got that the previous turn, but also has the effect to banish itself to the end phase. Time Thief Redoer, such a powerful card. I love making Time Thief Redoer in Orcust. It's such a great card. I love going... like, Shade Brigandine, too. Shade Brigandine is a card that helps you start so many combos, especially when you're drawn to. It's never a bad thing to draw it into turn 1. Obviously, it's not optimal, but it's still really great to draw. Because it's sort of like half of a combo, which is great. Now, all he needs to worry about is he just needs to get Brio off the field without battle effect, because he can't attack it. So going into Nightmare Unicorn with Galatea and Corbane, ditching Symbol Skeleton, spinning it back to the deck. I've got 71. He's got Connector in hand, and it doesn't matter. Nekroz falling 2-0 to Danger Orcust. But don't worry, I've got a rematch. A rematch video going up sometime later on in the week. I'm not sure when. I'm actually going to be going on vacation this Wednesday, and I'm getting a bunch of videos pre-made for that because I'll be gone for over a week or so, and I want you guys to have videos to watch while I am gone. I'd rather not have an absence of videos for you guys. So yeah, if you like the video, feel free to leave a like and let me know down in the comment section below what kind of matchups you want to see in the future, given hope that are the decks that I actually have. Otherwise, they might not happen in the near future because I would have to pick up the deck and learn it, etc., etc. But yeah, let me know if you guys want to see that rematch. Either way, I'll probably post it regardless because I think it was a great match. And yeah, as always, guys, Winterkill signing out. We'll see you guys in the next one.